So let's go ahead and target the comments. So I'm gonna say the comment, and I want to simply target the H4, and alongside the H4 I could go ahead and just target I2, and for this one I'm simply gonna give it a margin right, and let's just say 20px, and as you can see, this is it. So that's the sort by thing, and 2 comments sort by. Let's increase this a little bit and let's see. So I think it's not going with the sort by. This is how this looks over here. As you can see, this is the way it's looking with the sort by, but this one isn't going with it. So I think there is an issue in the video or HTML. I'm simply going to look for the sort by. Okay, I think we also need to come over here. Let's just target the H4 itself. So I'm going to target the H4 only and not the I. And for this one, let's refresh this. As you can see, now it's beginning to look good. And for this I over here, I'm gonna put, let's put as you can see, only the H4 have got the font weight, so I'm gonna pass in the font weight, and that one is 500. Okay, and for the I don't want the I to move all the way back there. This one I'm simply gonna put 70px for the H4. And for this one, I'm gonna put 20px. Okay, as you can see, that's how it's looking. How about I put this at 10px? Okay, as you can see, now I'm simply gonna put 2. Okay, so that's what I want. I want them to stay side by side. Now the next thing we could do is go ahead and target the input field. So I'm gonna say dot comment. So dot comment, and I also want to target the comment underscore self, and I want to target the input, only the input itself. And for this one, we're going to go ahead and give it some attributes. I'm going to say width, and it's going to be 100%. I'm going to get, okay, what am I doing? 100%. I'm also going to give it a padding, and this padding is simply going to be 10px. So take a close look at what's going on over there in the input field. This is it, and padding 10px, and I also want to give this a margin top of 15px. And what else could we give it? We could give it a background of none, so we don't need any background for it. So I'm gonna say background, and we can simply pass in none, and that's if for any reason there is supposed to be a background for it. And I also want to give it a border of none, and I also want to give it an outline none, and we could give it a color of black, so whenever we type in there, it's going to be a black color. And to actually add a border bottom, that's what we're going to do now. I'm going to say 1px solid. I'm simply going to pass in black over there. So as you can see, that's how it's looking, but I think that black isn't supposed to be as thick as that, so I'm gonna make it a little bit lighter like this. So that's it. As you can see, that's all we've got. And I think let's see, there is this HR. There should be a HR over here just above this comment. So as you can see, this HR, I'm simply gonna give it a class of let's say mid HR, and I'm gonna target this in the CSS. So over here, I'm simply gonna say dot mid dash HR, and for this one, I'm gonna give it a color of, let's say, black. I'm gonna give it a border of none, and over here, I simply I'm gonna reduce this, and I also want to give this a background. I just want to give it a background of none, like that. Okay, as you can see, now it has no background, and I want to give it a margin bottom, and I could just say 10px. So as you can see, now it goes down a little bit, and I'm just gonna say 20px because I want to see some space over there. So this is what we've got now. This is looking pretty good, and I think I could also even make this more lighter. I don't like the way it's looking now. I want it to be almost invisible. I'm gonna take this up a little bit. Okay, so that's it. Now I think we want to go ahead and target the comments. Now we're done with the comment self, so I'm simply gonna say comment. Okay, let's target the comment self, but this one we want to target the inputs, and we want to target the placeholder. Okay, so I want to just make the placeholder a little bit more lighter, you could actually follow my RGB color if you want, or you could just specify your own color. So I'm gonna say 122, and for this one also I'm gonna say 122, and for this one I'm also gonna say 122, and now I'm simply gonna say 0.2. Okay, I could just get back here, and out here I could simply say, okay, I think that's okay. That's looking great and perfect. So the next thing we could go ahead and target is the detail comment itself. So I'm gonna say the details and details underscore comment. Now I want to look for this in the HTML. So I'm gonna come over here and search for this. Okay, I have it over there. So we're targeting detail comments, and I simply want to target the H4 tag. And for this one, we're going to give it a font weight of, let's say 500, and we also want to give a font size of, let's just say 14px. So take a close look at what's going on over here. This is it. Now I also want to get let's see, we can also target a span. So we could say the details, we're targeting detail comments, we're targeting the H4, and we simply want to target a span, and I'm simply going to say margin left, and let's just put in 20px for this one. Okay, so details H4, take note, this is not details but details comments, so we don't mess things up. Okay, so that's it. Now the next thing we want to do is go ahead and add a details comment. I want to target the P, so I'm going to say dot details comment, and I want to target P. I'm going to give this one a font, let's just say a font size, a font, not style, but font size, and this is it over here. So this is what we're targeting. Now I'm going to get back to what we're supposed to have there, which is supposed to be 14px. Like let's just say 14px. Okay, so that's okay. Now we could also go ahead and give it a margin of 8px and 0. So I'm gonna say margin, and I'm simply gonna say 8px and 0. So I want the margin at the top over there. And for this one, let's see, how about we give this a font weight of bold. Okay, I don't want to give the months a font weight of bold. I just want to give it to this one over here. So I'm gonna say bold, and the Jenny Doe. Okay, let's stick with 500 that we've got. Now the details comment P, I think we are done with it. Now let's go ahead and get the icon. So I'm gonna say the details comment, and I want to get the icon over here because it's a class, and I'm gonna say margin 0, and I simply want to say margin right 30px. So I'm gonna say margin right 30px. So refresh this, and as you can see, the like, the dislike, and the reply, they're all now looking good. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is go ahead and get the reply. So I'm gonna say reply, and I simply want to pass in margin left 70px. So I'm gonna say margin left 70px, and I'm also gonna say, as you can see, that's the reply over there. That's the reply, and I'm gonna say margin top, let's just say 20px. Okay, as you can see now, it's give it a top. Okay, so we're almost coming to the end of the video, and we also want to say reply image. So we're going to say dot reply, and we want to target the dots image just like that. We want to give this one a width of, we just say 30px. We also want to give it a height of 30px. Okay, I think that's looking really small, and what we could do is just give this a we could just say we want to give it an object fit of cover, so it stays in whatever size we want it to be. Actually, that's looking way too small. I'm just going to change this to 40px. Okay, that's better. Now the reply image is done. We'll go ahead and target the reply image H4, which is the text. So reply, and we simply want to target the H4, and to be more precise, we're going to be okay, let's target the H4 before the label. So for the H4, I simply want to pass in a font weight of 400. I also want to pass in a margin. I want to pass in a margin of 0, and I could pass in a margin top of 13px. Okay, so that's it's all looking good, as you can see over here. So as you can see down here, it's all looking good. Let's see. Okay, that's okay. Now we go ahead and now target the reply. We're gonna say h4, and we also want to target the label. Okay, and for this one, I'm gonna pass in a background. So I could just pass in a background like that, and I could just say gray. I could say gray, and so this one over here is simply for the for the person that owns the channel. Okay, so that's what we're trying to do now. And also I want to reduce the opacity of this. Let's take it up a little bit. Okay, that's okay. And let's simply pass in a border radius of 50 pixels. So I'm gonna say border radius, and I'm gonna say 50 pixels. Okay, and definitely we're gonna be adding a padding, but firstly let's add a font size. I want it to be smaller. I'm gonna say 13px, and also I want to add in a padding, definitely padding, and this padding should be 3px at the top and bottom, and 10px at the left and right. So that's it. And we could also pass in the margin bottom MB, and I could just say 4px. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Now we want to go ahead and target the subscribe button. For this margin button, I'm simply gonna say, let's just say 10px. Okay, so I want to target the subscribe button. This is it over here, and as you can see, everything is coming together. Now for the subscribe button, I'm gonna come over here, and I'm gonna say dot subscribe dash btn, and firstly I want to give it a background color of red. So let's see. Okay, that's it. Now one gives a padding of 5px top and bottom, 14px left and right, and that's okay. We also want to give the color that's inside it white. We don't want it to be blue. That's okay. We also want to remove the underline, text decoration none. That's awesome. And we want to give this a border radius finally. So border radius, we could just say let's just say 4px. We don't want it to be too curved, and as you can see, that's looking amazing. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it with the subscribe button. Now let's go ahead and work with the reply text. So I'm gonna say reply, and I just want to target a P. Firstly, I'm gonna give it a font size of 14px, font size 14px, and take a close look at what's going on over there. Font, this is supposed to be size. Okay, so you can see now it got smaller, and I also want to give it a margin top of 10px. So I'm going to say margin top, and I want to give it 10px, and as you can see, it went down a little bit. And that's it. I want to go ahead and target the h1. So I'm going to say dot no reply, and I want to target the h1. So for the h1, I'm simply going to say I want to give it a margin 0. So margin 0, and for now we don't even have this, so we're going to go ahead and add it up later. And for the image, I'm going to say we need the no reply image, and we need the no reply h1. So I'm going to say dot no reply, and we need to say image. So I'm going to be adding this later. We just want to create the CSS before we go ahead and do this. No image, sorry, no reply. Okay, let's see over here. Let's see. Okay, I haven't added it yet, so we're gonna add it later. Now for the no reply image, I'm simply gonna put text align, and I want to pass in center. And for the line height, I simply want to pass in 50 pixels. And finally, for the no reply h1, for the no reply h1, I simply want to pass in margin of 0. So margin 0, and that's it. So for the background, we could work with some background if we wanted, but I think that should be it. Everything is looking almost perfect now. For the left, so we've been working with the left since we take no, we're still gonna work with the right. And let's work with the detail comments. I just want to give the detail comments a margin. This one over here, I simply want to give it a margin top. So I'm going to say dot detail comments, and I want to give it a margin top of 20px. So I'm going to give it a margin top of 20px. Okay, as you can see, it came down a little bit. That's what I wanted. I just want some space over there. And let's see. So that's it. Now we can also go ahead and target the button. So now we are working with this over here. Let's keep going. So I'm simply gonna say button. That's the only button that we've got, and I want to remove the background. So I'm gonna say background, and I want to pass in none. As you can see, the background now is gone. We only have border, and I want to get rid of the outline and the border also. So I'm gonna say outline none. I'm gonna say border none. As you can see, the border is going to go away, and that's it. So you want to go ahead and target the dot chart. So we give the button a class of charts, and for this one I'm simply going to say background. Well, we could give it a background color if we want, and now it's going to be black, but I want that to be way light like this, and that's okay. So we give it that color. We want to give it a padding, and we're just going to give it all around 10px. So that's looking great. We also want it to take up all the width, so I'm gonna say width, and let's just say 100. We just put a 100%. So as you can see, it's taking up all the width over there. And finally, we could just change the color that's in it. We could just say we want a black thorough color in it, and that's it. So let's go ahead and target. Actually, there's a typo over there, so I'm gonna go ahead and just change the typo. So I'm gonna change it. It's double H. I'm gonna remove one of this. So show chat reply, that's it. And let's go ahead and work with the tags bg. So I'm gonna say dot tags dash bg, and for that one we're simply gonna pass in a background. And let's see, there is an issue somewhere. Background, just like that. And for this background we could simply use let's just say black. Then we're going to reduce the opacity. So I'm going to say black, and as you can see, all that, they're going to have a black color right now. So I'm going to just take that up a little bit, and I could just reduce the opacity also if I wanted. And I want to reduce it also again. Okay, that's great. Now alongside that, I want to pass in a border. So I need a border for it. And for this one, I'm going to put 1px. I'm going to pass in solid. And for the color, I can simply pass in black also, but as you already know, I'm going to reduce this, so it has this really faint borders in it. And I also want to pass in the border radius of 50px. So I'm going to say border radius, and I'm going to say 50px, just like that. And as you can see, it's now giving the border radius. And we'll go ahead and the padding, so everything looks more better. I'm going to say 3px top and bottom, 10px left and right. Okay, what is that? 10px left and right. Okay, everything be looking good now. And finally, I just want to pass in color. The color in there should be black. Okay, so this is looking amazing. Now we need to go ahead and target we need to now start targeting the margin and padding. As you can see, they are not looking good. So we could just say dots. We could target the dot right, and want to target all the tags that are there. I'm gonna give them a margin of, let's just say 20px top and bottom, and we don't want any margin over there. So as you can see, this is now looking good. The margins are now looking awesome. And we also want to go ahead and target the p tags, the p that are in the tags. So I'm gonna say tags, and I want to target the p, and for this one we're simply gonna give the color of black. Okay, so we also even did that late before, and I just did it again. Now we want to go ahead and target the width sidebar. So I'm gonna say width sidebar. And for this one, I'm going to be targeting that before I target the A tag, and I want to give this a margin of 20px, and I'm just going to say margin 20px and 0. Okay, so we are working with this now. And also I want to target A, so I'm going to say width sidebar, and I want to target A, and I'm simply going to give it a width of, we can just say 40%, and I also want to give it a height of 100 pixels. Okay, so as you can see now, this is starting to come together, this text over here. But take note, we are still gonna fix the image. As you can see now, the image is looking really big. Let's go ahead and fix it instead. So I'm gonna say width size A image, and I want to give this image a width of, let's just say 100%, so it takes up whatever space that's remaining from over here. And I also want to give it a height of, I'm gonna say border radius should be 1px. Okay, so I don't want any border radius for that. As you can see, it was given a border radius, and the image should also have a height. So I'm gonna say height, and this shouldn't be inherit. You can also pass in inherit if you want, but I don't want. I want a custom height for it, so I'm simply gonna say height should also be 100px, like that. So it's looking good. I also want to pass in object that fits, and that should be cover, so it takes in whatever. Let's make this contain. Okay, so as you can see, I think cover should be better. Okay, cover is better. Now alongside this, let's go ahead and target the details. So I'm gonna say vid sidebar, and I'm gonna say dot details, and for this one I'm simply gonna say width. I'm gonna say width, and I'm gonna say 60%. So we want the width to be 60%, and we also want the margin left to be 10%. So I'm gonna say margin left 10 pixels rather, and let's pass in a color of, let's say, black. Okay, so that's looking great, and we also need to go ahead and target the vid details, and I'm gonna target the p now. So I'm gonna say vid details dot vid sidebar dot details p, and I want to say the font size. The font size should be let's just say 13px. So as you can see now, it's looking smaller. We could say the margin should be 0, and we could say the color should be black. Okay, so that's it. Now I think we are done with this. Let's just go ahead and make this mobile responsive, and we'll be done. So I'm simply going to pass in at media, and I'm targeting only the size that I want to pass in, and this should be a max. This should be a max width of, let's say, 768px. That's for iPads. And now I'm just gonna put it side by side so we see everything that's going on. And I'm just gonna get my code over here, and I'm just gonna increase this a little bit and put it side by side. And I'm also going to make this look this way. Okay, so that's it. Now firstly, in here we want to go ahead and target the video items. So video items, and flex direction for this one should be column. Now see, as you can see now, everything now stays on a straight line, but over here everything goes side by side. So that's what we're trying to achieve. Okay, now I'm gonna comment this out so you see what's happened. So as you can see now, everything isn't looking good, but when we say column, now everything is going to come below all the text that we've got over there, or all the right content. So when we've done that, we need to go ahead and target the left and left content. So I'm going to say dot left, and I want to target the left content, and in the left content I want to make the width to be strictly 430px, and I'm going to make that important. So I'm going to make that important, and I'm going to get to the top. So as you can see, that's what we are working with right now, this over here. And what else could we even do over here? We could simply now target the left. So I'm going to say the dot left should have a width of 450px. So this should have a width of 450px. Okay, and also I also want to target the video. So I'm going to say the video itself should have a width of 450px, so it looks good, and I want to make that important. So I'm going to say margin right, and I want to pass in 10px over there, and I also want to say border radius. We could give this a border radius if we want. I'm going to say border dash radius, and let's just say 10px also, and I want to specify a height for it. So the height is going to be 40, viewport height, and we could just make that important. And I think that's it. Finally, we want to go ahead and target the right, then right content. So I'm going to say right, then right content, and for this one I'm going to say width should be 630px, and also padding. Okay, what is that? And also padding right should be 40px. So I'm going to say 40px, just like that. Okay, as you can see now, it has the border that we gave it. And let's see, Okay, so this is how this is looking now. Okay, this is how it's looking over here, and this is how it's looking over here. Okay, so we're actually on the right track. Right content 40px, we are done with that. Now we need to go ahead and target the vid sidebar, and the vid sidebar we're targeting the A. We also want to target the vid sidebar, and we want to target the details, and we simply want to give them width of 100%. So that's for this one down here. As you can see now, they take up all the colors over there, and we also want to give them a height of 100%. So now they're taking up all this height. But how about we go ahead and reduce this? I can say 70%, and let's say 80. Let's say 75. Okay, so as you can see, this is looking more better, right? Yeah, it's looking more better. Now what we can also do is go ahead and target the image. So I'm just gonna copy this. I don't want to type it out again, so I'm gonna copy this, and I'm simply gonna paste it down here. And for this one, we target just the A, and we target the image. So we don't need this one down here. We don't need this. What's that? We don't need this code down here. We simply want to pass in this. Okay, so that's simply what we want to pass in. But for this one, I'm gonna be giving the width 100%. So want the image to take up all the width and all the heights. And finally, the object dash fit is gonna be cover. So whatever image we're passing there is gonna contain. Okay, so that's it. Let's target this button. So I'm gonna say the button should have a width of, let's say, 70%. Okay, it's supposed to be just button and not chart. And I also want to target the dot chart, and let's say it should have a width of, let's say, 70px rather. Okay, that's how it's looking. I'm simply gonna pass in 100px. That's not looking good. I'm gonna pass in 500px. That's looking somewhat good. For 400, I'm just gonna say 470. So I don't want it to get to the wall over there. 460. So as you can see, this is looking good. And for the chart, I'm gonna say margin top, and I simply want to say 10px. So I want to give it a margin at the top. I'm gonna say 30px, and that's it. So I think we are pretty much done, and everything is looking good and responsive. So this is what we have. We could add comments, we could like and dislike. This is the buttons over here. We could hide reply, and I think that's pretty much it. In the next video, we're gonna go ahead and start working with the login page. So we're gonna work with the Google login page, and it's really gonna be amazing. So right now everything is looking responsive and it's working. So yeah, that's it. Hopefully you guys learned something new and enjoyed this video. Working with CSS was pretty fun. And in the next video, we're going to go ahead and start working with the Google login page, and that's going to be really amazing. And it's not going to take much time because the Google login page is quite easy. And yeah, that's going to be it. Do make sure to check out my YouTube channel, drop a like, consider subscribing if you like what I'm doing. And I hope I'll see you guys in the next episode. For now, bye.